We got expat listeners who would surely recognize you. You've been on every expat in Paris's Facebook wall over the past however many months. What should they do? Should they come up?
Yeah, to come up and say hi. What they should do is come up and say something specific. You know, that's not just like, hi, are you the guy that does the thing? Like, it would be cool if they came up and be like, oh, hi, Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, right.
Or
swear at you.
Yeah, or swear at me. Or say, oh, I'm glad you fucking asked.
Eiffel Tower with Oliver G.
All right, you're listening to the Eiffel Tower. We're here with Paul Taylor, the Prince of French bashing.
Hello.
How do you feel about that? The Prince of French bashing.
Prince of. I was waiting for the rest of the sentence there. Prince of French.
No,
yeah, that can work.
Yeah.
The Prince.
Is that a title you're comfortable with?
A French basher.
I mean, I didn't. Well, and a prince.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tell me about.
I get mistaken. Sometimes people call me Harry, like after Prince Harry.
Right.
Because
I look a double meaning.
I look a bit like him, and apparently I'm ginger.
I'll put you on the spot, Paul. Who's the king of French bashing?
The king of French bashing. That's a great question. Who? I don't know really.
I was thinking the godfather of French bashing might be Stephen Clark, the guy that wrote the...
Oh, maybe, yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I actually need to text him back. He emailed me because I emailed him because somebody put me in contact with him saying, oh, your stand-up shows, like, at the end of my stand-up show, they're like, oh, have you met Stephen Clark? I'm like, no, I've not met him, but I read like I read his first book.
Year in the Mud.
Yeah, in England, and I don't remember any of it, so I need to read it again. And I got in touch with him, being like, "Hey, we should meet for a coffee and chat." And he's
if you're listening, Stephen Clark, get in contact with Paul Taylor.
Yeah. No, it's me. He has got in. He sent me an email and he said,
Paul,
"I'm back in Paris. We should meet up." And I haven't got back in touch. I need to set a reminder for that.
If you're listening and thinking that you recognise this voice, this is Paul Taylor, the man who's been doing the "What the fuck" French videos. Sorry for my language, but that's what it's called.
Might be hearing a bit more of that.
Might be hearing a bit more language this episode. Sorry, Grandma. But this is Paul Taylor, British comedian in Paris, who's been killing it on the Canal Plus and YouTube scene with his videos bashing French.
Yeah.
People bashing France, bashing... How does that feel to have that that kind of moniker of being Mr. French basher?
It's good to have any sort of thing, really. So as long as you get a label put on you that represents who you are as a person, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. How did it start? I mean, how did you get your TV show?
It started through a video that I did called La Bise, which was a stand-up sketch that I would do on stage.
It started with a kiss?
It all started with a kiss. That's good. That should be the title of my book.
Yeah, all right.
Eventually, in 20 years, when it all started with a kiss. That's a great title for a book.
You got 20 years to catch up with Stephen Clark.
I think you got to write Paris in it as well.
Yeah,
from what we
it all started with a French kiss or a Parisian kiss. So anyway, yeah, it was when I started doing stand-up in France in 2013, January, so exactly 4 years ago. 4? Yeah. One of my first bits on stage was around La Bise, and it kind of became on stage like my hallmark bit. And
your go-to piece.
Yeah, it was always the closer, the thing that I would close on because it was the funniest part of my routine.
Give us a bit of it. Tell us what the...
well, if you've listened to episode 7, it's basically all of that. Is it's episode 7 or episode 6?
Oh, you mean with Lisa Ann Selmer?
Yes.
You're accusing us of doing your bit on the episode.
No, but it's essentially that. It's just the difficulties of doing La Bise in France and how many kisses you do, which side of the face you start with, the fact you have to do it to everyone all the time in any situation. And basically all I want to do is drink beer and going to house parties in France. I'm not allowed to drink beer because I have to do La Bise all the time. So that's the...
Have you done the kiss on the lips accidentally?
Almost, but yeah.
What we talked with Lisa about is when you go down to some different parts of France, you kiss different sides, end up with a kiss on the lips.
Yeah. So yeah, that was what I was doing on stage for that was kind of my closing bit or whatever. And then a friend of mine suggested that we make a video to promote an English comedy night that we were doing in Paris that was called French Fried, and it's not called, well, French Fried still exists, but it's not a comedy night anymore for now. And so he said, "Oh, let's do a video. I'd like to do to make La Bise into an actual video rather than just film you doing stand up on stage and then posting that online. Let's make a sketch out of it. What ideas do you have?" And I drew inspiration from a TV advert in the UK with Kevin Bacon, advertising EE, the mobile phone network. If you want to see that, just type in Kevin Bacon EE advert into YouTube, and you'll find, and it's basically him talking to the camera, and it's a kind of a one take sort of thing. And I figured that because my sketch was designed for stand-up, and stand-up is always one take, you get on stage and you tell the story and there's no cuts, I thought, that would be a cool way of filming it. And I've always really admired like film and TV that have had like really long takes.
Yeah, start of Goodfellas.
Yeah, start of Goodfellas. What was the other film that's come back recently? Children of Men. It was with Clive Owen. There we go.
Right.
And directed by Alfonso Cuarón, the guy who made Gravity and a bunch of other films. And he's kind of synonymous for one take things. Anyway.
You know what you'd like is the new Woody Harrelson movie that he shot the whole thing in one take.
Oh,
live.
is it out yet?
I don't know if he's done the first screening. The people that watched it
I
live.
read about that it was being screened.
It's
live.
essentially your show, but 90 minutes. What I like about your show, Paul, is for those who haven't seen it, and you should watch it, What the Fuck France, Google it, YouTube it. What I like about it are the snappy cuts, quick cuts. When you're complaining about something in France, the scenes are just so seamlessly put together. That must be something that other people have told you.
Yeah, the idea when the La Bise came out, and that was a kind of an independent thing. We made it with my mate to promote the show, and it got a lot of traction. It got like 1 million views within a week, and that was when Canal Plus got in touch and were like, "Hey, we'd love to do some more of these." And so the original plan that we were going to do episodes all in one take. But just the nature of it and how it worked out, it ended up being better and punchier if we added cuts or jump cuts into the episode. And the way that the director Felix managed to make it seem like it was still a one take thing was, to do like smooth transitions where in one thing I'm like putting down, I drop a fork on the floor. Or I drop a bottle of wine. There's a thing where a bottle of wine slips through my hand and then it cuts into a fork falling on the floor that I then pick up, and then we go into a next scene. So there's some really cool transitions.
Do you know what? It reminds me slightly. Do you remember the small mini-series Bref,
yes.
which was on Canal Plus a couple of years ago? In the same way, they had this real transition thing where they would go from one scene to another quite cleverly, and everything would be going ba 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 ba. Jumping from one scene to another, and you just felt like it was I think it only lasted for like 2 or 3 minutes.
I think it was like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Yeah,
and you felt like you'd watch just so much more. There was such a whole story about this, but because of the way that they'd edited it, it just seems so lively.
Yeah, it's. I think Canal Plus are good at making short, 2-minute comedy things, and so this was kind of a similar sort of thing where there's so much to get into 2.5 minutes that. And it's in English as well, which is the first time ever on French TV there's been an English produced, like an English comedy, anything.
And
English
how
anything.
People? How are you finding that French people are reacting to this?
Most of them love it,
right?
And then there's maybe 5% that just say to me, "Well, if you don't like it, go back home."
Right.
Where are you getting stronger words?
Where are you getting your statistics from?
Just from YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good for YouTube because usually it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Usually
Definitely. But yeah, we made an episode, like a special bonus episode, when we were changing time slots, so we had to be off the air for 2 weeks. We made a special episode with Rob, the guy who we did La Bise with, where he's reading me comments that I hadn't read yet.
I've seen it; it's great.
It was hilarious because he was reading them in a really sketchy French accent, like his American accent. And second of all, because the comments were very funny as well.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised, actually, that's in a good way.
It's James, the producer, talking right now.
Oh, I'm coming in.
Welcome, James.
Thanks. It was a bit of a late intro.
Yeah, he's already spoken a couple of times.
It's all right. I'm just really surprised, actually, but in a good way, as I was saying. The show's actually worked with it being in English on French TV.
Yeah.
You say it's the first time. The French generally don't speak much English.
No.
At one point, was there some kind of decision was someone trying to say, maybe we should try and French it up a bit?
Yeah, so initially, when we met with the woman who's head of original content at Canal Plus, the first discussion that we had back in January last year was basically around that, and she was saying that like the statistic was 5% of people who subscribe to Canal Plus watch videos in English with French subtitles. The other 95 watch it in VF, like with dubbed over. So her initial plan was like, we haven't got a choice, we have to do it in French. So then we shot a pilot a couple of months later, which we did it in both languages.
Because
So
your French is excellent, right?
it is, but I put on an accent. I put on a fake.
Can we have a
French
taste? Let's have a taste.
Yeah, it was it basically. So we did a version in English where it's the current version of what it is, and then the other version was like Bonjour, je m'appelle Paul Taylor, je suis anglais, j'habite ici en France.
Aye.
Et un truc que
That's
j'ai jamais
kind
compris.
of how I speak French.
Yeah, it's how most Anglophones speak French, and for some reason I don't. And,
What is the reason? How come you speak such good French? How long have you been in France?
7 years, but I studied it. I'm a bit of a maniac when it comes to languages. Like I'm obsessed with languages, and I grew up a bit in France. I spent 5 years as a kid in France, so I think when you're a kid, the accents come much easier.
Formative years, yeah.
Yeah, once you get an accent, I think it's easy to mimic it afterwards or keep it or whatever. My accent kind of changes subconsciously without me wanting to do it really. And so yeah, we did 2 versions, and the overall feedback was that the English version was better because it's my natural native language. So I was more comfortable in English rather than this kind of like forced fake French accent. And so they were cool enough to take the risk of being like, all right, cool, we'll produce a 3-minute comedy
And
thing.
so that's what it is. It's 3 minutes. They show every week on this channel.
Yeah.
And what is it? Like 10 episodes per season.
It's just episodes.
Just
There's no seasons really. It's just we started in September and we're going until June, the end of June. So it's the show. The show used to be on its own at like 12 p.m. on a Saturday, which was great because having a show called What the Fuck France, where I say fuck a lot in the show, at 12 p.m. on a Saturday was great for me. I was like, yeah, this is France. It's great. There's no censorship. There's nothing, especially in English. Obviously, if you're swearing in English, no one cares. And then after about 6 episodes, we got bumped up to a different time slot. So it's Saturday evenings within the Émission d'Antoine. So Antoine Decaune, who did Eurotrash in England. We're about halfway through all the episodes. We're doing 18 and 19 tomorrow and Thursday. Tomorrow and Wednesday. Tomorrow and Wednesday? Yeah, tomorrow and Wednesday we're shooting. Today's Monday for those listening.
And if you're just joining us, you're listening to Earful Tower. We're here with Paul Taylor, British man in France with the What the Fuck TV show. Tell me, Paul, I'm going to put you on the spot. What's the worst thing about Parisians?
Hey, it's a great question. I've been asked this many times, and every time I forget what my answer is.
Is there one thing that niggles?
Just, I think the lack of... it's almost a big city thing everywhere, where people just lose all respect for other people. Like, they think... here it's like, as long as you say bonjour and bonsoir to people, then they think that's being friendly. But then you see the people... on the metro or on buses or just in supermarkets, and just the lack of respect they have for each other is unbelievable. Whereas I feel like in England we don't say hello to each other, but I feel like we're more courteous. We'll let people onto the bus first if they, we'll give people their seats.
So you think that bonjour thing is just a robotic kind of...
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah, it's a totally robotic thing, and it can be friendly, and often it is. But you just see, I don't know, it drives me crazy. The lack of not even following the rules, but if you're at a queue in a supermarket and a new till opens up, then no one goes, oh, sorry, you were in front of me, so you then have the priority. It's like, nah, fuck it, it's free for all. Let's all. I get the.
We're getting into one of the rants here.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, we're getting a proper earful here.
Have you ever played the formality game with Parisians? It's where
it's quite funny. I played it actually today.
Do you actually? I invented it, so I don't know what formality game you're playing.
I think I've got.
I'll tell you mine, and then you can tell me yours. Mine is that when you meet someone or when you say goodbye to someone, they often repeat, or for example, if you say enchanté, they'll say enchanté, and then sometimes you can say et au revoir, and they'll say au revoir, and then you can continue and even say bon weekend. And
you keep going.
You see how many you can get. And I've got to 4 over the weekend.
Wow,
I said bon weekend, and I said bon dimanche, like have a nice Sunday. I said également. They've got so many words to say. Et toi aussi, également.
Yeah.
That's my version of the game, James. What's yours?
My version was to give you the example of today. It's something that I do quite a bit. I was on the coach today, and arriving, and I was going to get up from my seat. Everyone rushes off the coach because everyone's in a real hurry. You don't really know why, because at the same time. Anyway, everyone rushes off, and I'm just there waiting to see if someone is actually going to let me get out of my seat. And I'm there smiling at people like, does no one actually realize what I'm wanting here? Does no one is someone actually going to stop and let me off? But no, everyone's just happy to go.
So you
right
do the
in front.
waiting game and you smile.
Yeah, you can do it, and you can wait until you're the only one in the bus.
What's your tip for him, Paul?
You just got you. I mean, it's same with driving. Same with any. Like you just have to. I was going to say you have to comport yourself. That's not an English word, is it? You have to behave yourself. You have to behave like them in order to get by. Like I learned to drive in the UK, and we're very, we follow the rules in the UK because I don't know the way the roads are designed. Also in the UK, you can't not follow the rules. There's very specific lanes. Like at a junction where there's a 4-way junction, there's a big white diagonal cross in the middle. So even if the light is green but it's blocked in front, if you go out and you stop, and because of traffic, you're stopped in this white thing, and you're like, oh, I know I'm in the wrong here. Whereas here, the light's green, but it's blocked in front. People are like, no, the light's green, I'm allowed to pass, even though they know that the light's going to go red, and the people coming left or right, they're going to be blocked. So you just have to drive like them and behave. But I mean, Paris is by far not the worst city in the world. There's probably worse cities of people, behaving. But I think compared to London, and I'm just saying that because a lot of French people were like, yeah, I went to London this weekend. Oh, how was it? People are so nice.
Right.
Like they're just a lot more courteous.
That's the funny thing is when I'm talking about my testing the coach thing, is that people do actually realise it once they're abroad, that there is a way of, you can actually
French
be
people
polite.
realise it, you mean?
Yeah, French people do actually realise that people do it in a different way, and it's actually nice. Same as queuing for, anything.
Yeah. I mean, outside of Paris, it's I've never really had issues. Like people were fine. Like if you're in a car, like, people will let you out, and I don't know. It just seems to be more. It's the big city syndrome that often big cities have.
A lot of Londoners that I met say they think Paris is a small city, comparatively.
Well, yeah. I mean, compared to London, but I mean compared to any other French city, it's it's obviously if you go to Lyon, it's going to be smaller.
Do you get people that watch your show say, "Oh, that's very Paris-centric"? That's
Sometimes,
not what we like around the rest of France.
Yeah, sometimes.
Because French people say that Parisians are a different nationality.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, a little bit, but at the same time, like my argument back is, well, is Paris in France? Well, yeah, well then that's why it's called What the Fuck France.
Yeah.
But like there's the first time that happened is when we did the second episode on Les Terrasses, and we just called it Les Terrasses. Like we didn't specify that it was Parisians, and that was when people were like, oh, this is not how it is in my place. Whatever.
Typical Frenchman. That was a French accent there.
Yeah, it's just how it's. This is whatever. And so some of the other ones, like we did an episode where when we were writing it, we were writing like French women, but then it turned into Parisian women because it seemed like. But then we got the opposite from there, where we got comments being like, yeah, it's not only Parisians that are like that. I'm from Nice, and all the women are like that as well here. So
maybe the French just complain a lot.
Oh yeah, they I mean, if they don't, here's the thing: if anyone's doesn't like it, the two excuses are you're foreign, go home. We shouldn't have to listen to you criticizing our country. And the second one is, this is Paris-centric.
On the topic of swearing, is that something that you like to do in French as much as you like to do in English?
Yeah.
How's it?
Yeah, because I don't know. I guess it's a good release of emotions. I feel like, it's a good, whatever the.
Have you got a favourite French swear word?
Yeah, it's the phrase "ça me fait chier." I love it.
Yeah,
because it doesn't exist in
translates
English.
To roughly.
It makes me shit.
Yeah,
and I've always been fascinated.
And
about
explain. So how do you use that in when you're speaking French?
Well, if you're annoyed at something, like if you're annoyed at like the beer that we were pouring earlier on, and
hang on, what was wrong with the beer that we were pouring earlier on?
There was too much head on it.
You mean the warm beer
the warm beer that this is how you treat guests.
Offers, yeah.
This is how you offer drinks to guests on your show.
You share one beer between 3 people. That's how it works, isn't it?
Warm beer. And so yeah, if you're pouring the beer and you get a lot of head, a way of expressing your displeasement, you could be like, ça me fait chier. Like,
it makes me shit.
It makes me shit. So you're so angry at this thing that you physically need to go to the toilet.
We should bring that into English. I think it's great.
It would be great. We have an equivalent in English, which is it pisses me off.
Right.
Which is kind of.
It would be more like it pisses me out.
Yeah, or it makes me piss.
I hope my grandma's not listening to this episode. She's a big listener.
I mean, my vocabulary is pretty limited in both languages, and most people say, swearing is because you've got lack of.
What do you think about that? A lot of people say that in comedy, swearing is. People seem to be pretty divided about it. They say it's a cheap way of getting a laugh. Some people say it's the perfect punchline because it hammers at home. What's your opinion?
I think yeah. If it hammers, if you're talking about an emotion on stage, or you're talking about an emotion in jokes, like I think, specifically a negative one. Like, it's very difficult to convey a really negative emotion, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, whether it's hate, whatever it is, using a non-swear word. I think. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you were to if you were to I don't know, to do something really bad and use the F word for some reason. I don't know.
I love how you say the F word.
Yeah, I don't know. Just change it up a bit, you know. I don't know what equivalent in a normal English word that's not a swear word you'd be able to convey that sentiment, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, as long as it's not, you know, overused. You know, if you're talking about how you had a really great day, yeah, it's unnecessary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's say that some of the comedians, I think Chris Rock and maybe Eddie Murphy, were just throwing F words around left, right, and center just for the.
There's something about swear words with a specific type of person that works better than others. I also find it a lot funnier when Quebecois people swear, like people from Quebec, more than French people. Like for me, it's
they've just got
amazing.
a whole
Is it
difference.
because of the way they talk or what they say?
It's a mixture of both.
Right.
You know,
all our swear words, all the French swear words are based on, as we said, poo, and all of theirs are based on the church.
Yeah.
So when it's not tabernacle, it's.
I call yes. Yeah.
Well, what about Mr. Bean? He got away with saying absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Until the movie. Did he talk in the movie?
I can't remember.
For fear that a lot of our past couple of minutes of conversation might get edited out due to the language, tell me, Paul, do you get recognised on the street in Paris?
Yeah.
How does it go down?
Usually, I'm a really shy person in real life. I have no social skills at all.
Right.
Which is why I kind of like going on stage, because I know that I can express what I need to and not come across like it's expected of me to express my opinions or to say hello or to talk. Whereas if you go to a house party, it's not really expected of me to talk. And the same thing in the street. So what's weird is people now look at me. You know, they give me double takes. They're like, is that...
Yeah.
And I don't know how to react. I'd say out of that, like there's 10% of those people that will come up and go, oh, are you the guy that does the thing? And I'm like, yeah. And they go, oh, that's cool. Like, I really enjoy what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Great, blah, blah, blah. Really enjoy your stuff, whatever. And that's really cool. Like, I really enjoy that. But the thing where it's a bit more awkward is when they're shy as well. So they don't know. But when they look at me, like, I don't know whether to smile because I don't know if they're looking at me because I've got a thing on my face.
Yeah, right.
Or it's because they think they recognize me. So I don't know whether to smile back to them and go, yeah.
Or maybe they're just waiting for you to get off the coach.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
It could be all of that, right? So I don't know what to do because I don't want to presume that they're smiling at me because they've recognized me, and then I go up to them like an idiot and go, you know, or smile and go, yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
So I really
you go
really
up and offer them an autograph. You look like
here's. Do you want a selfie?
I've got one ready here.
What are you doing? So yeah, it's a little bit. It's strange, but it's cool. When
So what should people do? What should people do if they see you and they recognise you? We got expat listeners who would surely recognise you. You've been on every expat in Paris's Facebook wall over the past however many months. What should they do? Should they come up?
Yeah, to come up and say hi. What they should do is come up and say something specific. You know, that's not just like, hi, are you the guy that does the thing? Like, it would be cool if they came up and be like, oh, hi, Jean-Pierre.
Yeah. Right.
Or
swear at you.
Yeah, or swear at me, or say, oh, I'm glad you fucking asked, or whatever like something, you know, that I'd recognise from the show. Whether it's like for 3 reasons, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I get that a lot of comments now. Not a lot of them, but some of them you get like, oh, I really like this episode for 3 reasons, and then people are like, oh, so did I, Jean-Pierre, and they just use the banter. Well, that's cool. It's cool to have like these people that, you know, really enjoy the show and use little mimics and comments from it.
What about in the UK?
So funnily enough, I was like, oh, good. I don't ever want to do anything in the UK. I don't ever want to get recognised back home. I just don't, because I don't know. For me, comedy over there is just unbelievably at a high level compared to over here in France. And I'm not anywhere near that level. Like, I don't deserve to be on TV. Like, that's just it doesn't. No. So I
disagree, Paul. You're being hard on yourself.
There's just so much good quality over there. So anyway, I was like, oh, cool. No one knows me in England. I go home to Canterbury in the southeast, and for Christmas I went over to visit my mum with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend wanted one of these like join the dot books. They've got these like adult join the dot books which are anti-stress. Yeah. She's stressed out, so she wants like this and it was like a cat book that you draw cats and you join the dots, whatever. So we were looking for it everywhere. We went into this Waterstones, and I asked the guy at the thing, I was like, hey, do you have this book here? And he looked at me and he smiled, and straight away I was like, he probably thinks I'm an idiot asking him for like a join the dot book. And then he kept on looking at me, and my mum and my girlfriend both looked like I was like, oh, is he? No. And the guy goes, are you Paul Taylor? I'm like, oh no, I've only spent one day here and somebody in my hometown has recognised me.
Why are you buying your join the dot books?
Yeah, and she hasn't used it yet. We got a join the dot book. We got like 3 of them, and
She must be super stressed.
well, she's just a stressed out person all the time, just for no reason. She gets stressed out for no reason. She's French.
Yeah.
There are a lot of those anti-stress books actually in France. You
Oh,
see colouring ones, and I've seen them everywhere. They're like coloriage pour adultes, and
Yeah. Maybe it is. Maybe it does unstress you, but I don't know.
Well, what about to finish off now? Tell us another thing that you really can't stand about Parisians or French people. Give us a hint of things to come, Paul.
The judginess when it comes to like clothes and fashion. I think people judge each other a lot.
Tell
here.
the listeners what top you're wearing.
Oh, I'm wearing a. And my girlfriend bought me this jumper because she found it through her Facebook feed. Presumably because she likes the Facebook page, and then maybe there's something in the algorithm that. So it's a jumper that's got a seal on it, and the word for seal in French is fuck, and so it says what the fuck, but spelt PHOQUE, which is basically means what the seal.
Yeah,
And,
it's a great shirt. I really
yeah,
like it.
it's pretty fun. So
And there's a drawing that she could maybe have done join the dots.
she could have done the jointed dots of the seal on my jumper.
And what? So you think the French people are judgy about the fashion?
Yeah, totally. Like I think.
Guys and girls?
Yeah, I think more so girls between themselves, Parisians. But even the guys, like the guy, I don't know. People go to the boulangerie; they're dressed up to go to the boulangerie. My girlfriend will be putting makeup on her. It's like, you're going to the pharmacy,
Right.
Just go in your. Who cares? She's like, oh, but you can't, So, but you just see people like this, the look of disapproval in people's eyes if they're wearing like a green hat that's not the right green for the season. They're like, oh, well, how is this? Whereas in London, people just wear crazy stuff and no one cares.
It just adds to the feeling for you, I guess, of are they looking at me because of what I'm wearing? Are they looking at me because I'm Paul Taylor, or am I just standing in the wrong place?
I think we've blended in quite a bit here because none of us are actually wearing very colourful clothes.
No,
just to say.
it's either black, grey, or dark blue. They're the colours authorised by the French society,
Play it safe.
by the Parisian society, that no one will look at you weirdly. It's they judge you as if I don't know, it was like like a crime. But I mean, having said that, everyone's pretty stylish here.
Paul Taylor, last question. What next for you?
What is next for me? It's a good question. I don't know. I haven't really thought too
You
much
going to continue
about it.
with the show?
Yeah, we're going until the end of June for the show. So 24th of June, I think I think it's the 24th of June is the last date that we'll be broadcasting. And then I'm still doing my stand-up show twice a week.
And where can we find you there?
It's a place called Sentier des Halles, which is in the 2nd arrondissement.
Yeah, that's where I live. James is pointing at me.
Oh, is he? What, you live at Sentier des Halles?
Nearby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where I do my show every week, and I'm doing a show in like a bigger theatre every other month as well. And I'm going to carry that on for another year or two until we film it, basically.
Cool.
And put it on some sort of website like Netflix or on DVD or whatever, and then I'll hopefully start a new one. But TV show's done in June, and we'll see what happens after that. Whether I do another TV thing or not. Maybe. Hopefully, if they want me.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll see.
So if you want to keep up with Paul Taylor, follow him on Facebook. It's Paul Taylor Comedy.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to more from the radio station, it's World Radio Paris. If you want to find the show on Facebook, it's The Earful Tower.
To listen more of Oliver.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in, Paul. You've been
Thanks
great.
for having me. Bye.
Eiffel Tower with Oliver G.